welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, I'd like to read about chapter 10 as my little reading task. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Rizqi Fadlliah and I'm from PBI 4 and my attendance number is 29. Chapter 10. Is there a safe way to drink? The author of this article is Dr. Maurice Savage, President of the Health Education Foundation and Principal Research Scientist at the Johns Hopkins University Metropolitan Center for Planning and Research. As an authority on alcoholism and drug abuse, Dr. Savage is particularly interested in educating people to drink in a safe, responsible manner. 1. I have devoted most of my professional life to the problems of alcohol and its abuse, most recently as the director of the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, so I've spent much of my time trumpeting the fact that alcohol is a drug and that alcohol abuse is the most serious drug problem this nation faces. Nonetheless, I believe firmly that alcohol can do more good than harm, for there is a safe way to drink. 2. Pharmacologically, alcohol is an anesthetic, not a stimulant. In moderate amount, it appears to stimulate because it inhibits those brain centers which restrict less civilized outbursts as well as those which make us aware of exhaustion. Then we feel psychically able and emotionally fear. But with increasing doses, alcohol puts to sleep the brain centers which affect judgment, knowledge, and social controls. Sufficient dosage can put us to sleep for keeps by anesthetizing those centers which control breathing and heartbeat. 3. Responsible people, therefore, must choose very carefully the time, place, and circumstances of drinking. Visually, if you are to engage in complex mental or physical activities, writing, driving, business, it is certainly appropriate to be under the influence of an anesthetic drug. On the other hand, if you are going to be sharing a meal or some other human interchange in a relaxed way, alcohol can be rewarding and joy to the experience, a true servant of man. 4. An essential point is that there is a known safe level of drinking. In preparing the second report to the Congress on Alcohol and Health, we found that researchers all over the world were independently using the same level to define safe or moderate drinking: 1.5 ounces of pure alcohol per day, the equivalent of 3 1/1 drink of 100 proof whiskey, which is 50% alcohol, 4 glasses of beer, or half a bottle of wine. 5. This limit, of course, is the only statistical average. For some people, even 1 drop of alcohol is too much. Not do our finding permits having 1 day's ration in order to drink more the next day. At no time should any individual wishing to remain within a safe limit consume more than 1.5 ounces for pure alcohol in a single day. 6. Studies show that the driver who has consumed an amount of alcohol within this limit is no more likely to have an automobile accident than the driver who does not take any alcohol. But beyond this limit, when the blood alcohol level or the concentration of alcohol in the blood begins to creep over the 0.5% sober level, the risk of traffic accident jumps enormously. By the time the blood alcohol level reaches 0.2%, the level of most drunk drivers who are arrested, the risk of an accident is 100 times that of the non-drinking driver. 7. The matter of drinking is also crucial. One should always sip slowly. Alcohol is highly unusual foodstuff in that at least 20% of it is absorbed directly from the stomach into the bloodstream without going through any discarded processes. Therefore, gulping alcohol produces a sudden, marked rise in the alcohol level in the blood and hence in the brain. Once alcohol is in the bloodstream, nothing, with the exception of a kidney dialysis machine, can clear it from the blood more quickly than the body's own steady metabolic rate of 3/4 of 1 ounce of pure alcohol per hour. 8. Another rule of safe drinking is that food in the stomach, preferably protein or fatty products, effectively delays alcohol's invasion of our system. Food covers the stomach wall, making capillaries less accessible. It also sponges up the alcohol and carries it gradually through the discarded process, slowing absorption and allowing the metabolism and break it adapt to. So, as any experienced drinker knows, the same dose taken with food in the stomach will provide a more pleasant outcome than alcohol of an empty stomach. 9. A number of other factors also influence our response to a drink. It's best not to take alcohol when physically or emotionally upset, lonely, or in need of solace. It's true that alcohol's anesthetic effect will dull the pain of loneliness, but alcohol is no substitute for another person. In other words, do not drink alone. 10. It is also best to drink in a relaxed setting. If I had to come up with a healthy drinking situation, I would have created the American cocktail party, standing around uncomfortably in a crowd of people, most of whom one does not know, one tends to gulp that first drink. People like to think that alcohol at cocktail parties make it easier to get acquainted, and despite the fact that strangers frequently pour out intimate details of their lives. In my judgment, a stranger sharing intimate so freely is not relating to you, he's relating to himself. 11. A medical college once tested this at a cocktail party when a woman was pouring out her heart to him. I have just murdered my grandmother, he said. The woman smiled sweetly, said, "Isn't that nice?" and babbled on. 12. Regardless of where and how you drink, what you expect from alcohol is what you get. As with almost all drugs, expectation is strongly related to outcome. If you're part of a group that wants to act drunk, even with small doses, you'll feel drunk. 13. It's best then to drink with people who set expectations they are socially useful and not destructive. Too many Americans, preoccupied with drinking, fell in this regard. We spend a good deal of time thinking about drinking or talking about it. Our liquor advertisement implied alcohol is proof of sophistication and worldliness, or else it's funny. Just think about how we laugh when a comedian acts drunk. Thinking something is funny is society's way of giving it social sanction. It is also a sign of discomfort, for jokes are a safe way to ventilate deeper worries. Study after study has shown that Americans are uncomfortable, ambivalent, almost guilt-ridden about their use of alcohol. 14. Why is this country so uptight about drinking? In my opinion, one major reason is that our society places a great deal of stock in order and control. And being overdosed with a drug drunk means being out of control. When we see someone who has lost control, it threatens our sense of control. Alcoholism is threatening because so many of us use alcohol. When we see an alcoholic, we are afraid that we could become alcoholics also. 15. If our culture were more open and less guilty about alcohol, I think we could do more people with alcohol problems. We might also do more for our children. Surveys complete in 1975 showed that children in this country between the age of 20 and 70 are already masturbating severe alcohol abuse. In effect, 5% of these kids get drunk at least once a week. 16. What can parents do? For one thing, they can alter the use of alcohol in home. I contend that we teach our children all about alcohol very early. Toddlers notice that when mommy and daddy drink this particular liquid, they behave differently. The children can miss the fact that it's something special, especially when we tell them they can't have it, because it's not good for you. 17. I see no harm in becoming more relaxed about alcohol in the home, even giving your child a taste if you are drinking and he wants it. Why not? Other cultures do in a matter of fact way. Chinese, Lebanese, Spanish, Jewish, and Italian. People do not think there is anything special by giving alcohol to their young. Nobody makes a fuss about it, and these cultures use alcohol without appreciable problems. 18. Indeed, always to focus on alcohol in the context of alcoholism is, I think, to miss the point. If you are preoccupied with alcohol, if you or others in your environment are discomforted by this preoccupation, if alcohol interferes with your ability to function in other necessary ways, then you have to alcohol problem. 19. Our country is very concerned this day with safety and health. We have to remind ourselves that anything that affects human beings has potential for harm in too great a quantity, even oxygen and water. Those essentials of life can harm or kill, so life is a risk. And I suspect that the only sure way to be solved from disease and dying is to be dead. 20. But there are self-limits that people can use in making decisions about risk-taking, such as choosing to drink or not, how much to drink. We ought to share with young and old like the best available knowledge on such subject, and then let each individual make up his or her own mind. Okay, I think that's all. I'm so sorry if I have so many mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.